Welcome to this Intalio BPMS Enterprise Edition webinar. This webinar will cover some advanced techniques, detail, SOA, and system integration with Intalio BPMS. These webinar objectives are to get you up to speed to start using Intalio BPMS platform, to take a look about SOA and system integration capabilities, and get your feedback and comments. So feel free to contact me or our sales team for further information about our product. You have my mail here on the right. The webinar agenda is structured in 3 parts: a company overview, an introduction to Intalio BPMS architecture, and a live demo of the solution. Let's start for the company overview. Intalio is a leading enterprise software provider founded in 1999. It's headquartered in Palo Alto and can count with more than 1,200 customers in 55 countries and 80 partners worldwide. Our technologies embrace open source standards, and Intalio actively contributed to establish industry standards both in business process management and application servers. Our customers vary in a wide range of sectors and industries. We are a trusted partner empowering few of the largest companies in the world, such as Deutsche Bank, Finnair, Mitsubishi, NTT, and Vodafone. Intalio is fully committed to the success of our customers and partners through continuous research and development. We count with our 3-tier program deployed worldwide, and our partners obtain from Intalio sales, marketing, and technical benefits for the development of local initiatives. Intalio has 2 main components: the designer, dedicated to process modeling, implementation, and process deployment, and the server, dedicated to process execution. Both components are composed by different models, some of them open source, part of the community edition, others under a license, available only with the enterprise edition. Designer models are BPMN Modeler, the deployment manager that guarantees our zero-code vision with just one-click deployment, the process implementation tool for configuration and runtime data manipulation, and the database connector that permits to integrate Intalio to the most well-known database management systems. Regarding for the form editor, Intalio provides an Ajax, which is easy-to-get creation and integration environment, allowing to easily create rich internet applications. As Enterprise Edition models, the designer counts with a business activity monitoring model that provides a complete view of all business processes deployed in production. You are able to track and report KPIs defined and are integrated in the model. Business Rules Engine is able to manage complex rules from a business-friendly decision table editor, easy to include in your models through a drag-and-drop feature. To complete the list of Enterprise Edition models, you can have also an LDIP model for the user management. From BPMS server side, we have the BPL engine and Tempo, our workflow engine. Furthermore, you can count with 2 web applications for process management. These applications are Task List Management with a user-friendly interface dedicated to end user, and a Process Console for process monitoring that enables dynamic validation, checking, testing, and debugging. Enterprise Edition components we have seen in Designer are also present in the server for the process execution, but we have in addition an ASP connector, a portal connector, in this case a Liferay CMS connector, and a document management system connector. In this case we are talking about Alfresco. We support a wide range of application servers, for instance Tomcat, JBoss, WebLogic, etc. As database management systems, we support MySQL, Oracle, SQL, PostgreSQL, DB2, etc. Summarizing, why Intalio BPMS? Because it's 100% enterprise ready. It's easy to integrate and easy to adopt thanks to our zero-code vision. Most of the technical aspects of your model can be implemented with a drag-and-drop gesture. it's standard-based. Intalio adopted more than 15 different standards, and it's SOA-oriented. All processes are exposed automatically as web services. You can rely on an excellent performance, and regarding cost, well, you have a low cost of entry because you can start your project and testing from the community edition. In our demonstration, we are going to show you how Intalio orchestrates the interaction with external systems. In this particular case, we are going to have a full control of the life cycle of a document in Alfresco. All Intalio processes are automatically exposed as web services. As you can see in this diagram, your process can get control of all Intalio models in the same way Intalio integrates external systems. Intalio uses its own SOA architecture. Intalio integrates security layers as LDIP or CIS using web service as well. You can replace any component you see in this diagram with your own. For instance, you can use your own user interface or your own LDIP. Intalio can easily integrate any application that have a web service API. This is the case of Alfresco, where Intalio will take advantage from the CMIS interface. This integration is also possible with the SharePoint, Luxio, OpenText, Node 3, because these systems use the same standard. Intalio can manage integrations with a top-down approach. With Intalio, you can define the business scenario, and then you can design the integration layers, where you can manage exceptions like a business logic faults. And of course, you can adapt the service implementation layer, that is the layer in charge of to interact directly with external system. Let's move to the Intalio Designer to see these capabilities in detail. This demonstration consists in a system organized in 3 different projects to permit an independent development lifecycle management. Having a separated development, testing, and deployment, all 3 layers, part of the integration, could be developed separately by 3 different teams. The order management project that you can see here on the left corresponds to the business scenario layer. As you can see, it manages human workflows, KPIs, and rules implementation. These last modules are part of Intalio BPMS Enterprise Edition. In our scenario, the process will manage an order request. The request will be made through a web form, and it will trigger the process. So an employee requests the product, the order will be reviewed with an external system, and this system will assign the next owner. So a task for the order authorization will be assigned to a manager through the evaluation of the amount, quantity, and the good to be purchased. These rules are implemented by this task. Here, a connector to Intalio BRI was implemented in the process. The manager approves or rejects the order. If the manager approves, attach some documentation. This document is uploaded in Alfresco in a common repository, and then the document is moved to a dedicated folder. To conclude this business logic, the employee gets notified about the outcome of the request. As you can see in this layer, rules, response, and document lifecycle management are dealt from a macro perspective, because this is the analyst business view. I'm going to show you how a web service, in this case another Intalio process, can be invoked to obtain the approval task username owner. For this kind of integration, I mean an Intalio to Intalio integration, one layer is enough to ensure the data exchange. The integration at this level is made through a WSDL file, and obviously these WSDL files can be retrieved or provided by the external system. So you must ask the owner or the provider of the external system to provide these whistle file. Let's figure I retrieve this file from my file system, and a simple copy and paste is enough to include this file in my project. When the whistle file that describes the external system is in our project, we can simply drag and drop into our model. We can choose from a list of options how the system will be integrated. In this case, we are going to choose the most simple from the list. That is the first. To complete the integration, we need to define how data will be exchanged from Intalio to the external system. Hence, we use these connectors to define these messages. After we define the messages, we need to use the mapper tool, a visual ETL tool that permits to define how and which data is exchanged during runtime. So we map the necessary data. And that's all done. Summarizing, Intalio can add whistle files included in project file system to the model by a simple drag and drop. After that, you can use the mapper tool to define the data exchange. Once we define this integration at this level is complete. The integration with external systems requires a three-layer integration. First, the business layer invokes the integration layer. The second, the integration layer invokes the system implementation layer. And the third, the system implementation layer, finally invokes the external system. This three-tier structure guarantees the process execution and the service orchestration. Intalio provides an elegant exception handling tool to do that. In fact, you are able to manage technical exceptions in the same way you can manage a business fault. The system management layer is an Intalio project, so it's invoked from the business layer as shown before using a whistle file imported to the project and then included to the model. In this way, this process is invoked to manage the uploaded document. Main scope of this process is to manage runtime exceptions. In this case, is able to manage two cases of faults: a fault response from Alfresco and a total absence of response for Alfresco that will conduct to a timeout exception. Every case is catched by these shapes in the model and then managed separately in these subprocesses. In this way, the process execution is always guaranteed, given the possibility to execute a controlled rollback to eventually compensate the transaction or simply open a ticket assigned the owner in runtime. This model is also responsible to invoke the system integration layer. This integration is made through the same technique we used before. We used a whistle file that is included in the project, then drag and drop it in the model and then map it with the mapper. I'd like to put in evidence that we have not written any code to do these integrations. This is the zero-code vision we mentioned during the company presentation. The system integration layer is an Intalio process that manages the CMIS interface of Alfresco. It manipulates the response and provides required data from the business point of view to the Invoco. As you can see from the project, these are 4 operations we are going to use in this case. Summarizing, the integration is made a 3-tier integration to guarantee all transactions thanks to Intalio exception handling tools. Important to note, no coding is required to accomplish this. Let's see the integration in a practical example. Before I show you the running application demo, I want to show you how easy it is to deploy your process with Intalio. As mentioned, Intalio provides a one-click deployment tool. All you need is to click on the gear button and automatically Intalio Designer creates the configuration for the deployment. For instance, Intalio sets the URL of the server instance or the namespace. You are able also to deploy behind a proxy server. After this, you have just to click on the deployment button and Intalio Designer does the rest. When the message of a successful deployment appears, we can start to test our processes. We start visiting the task list web application in order to see where we can start our process. This web application is oriented to manage human workflows. It presents the list of tasks, notifications and processes assigned to the logged user. In this case, I'm logged as an admin, so I can get access to all task elements. Intalio provides also a process console, a web application that permits to monitor every single deployed process and instance. You can check all details of every process and instance, including data and messages exchanged during runtime. Let's come back to the task list and let's start our process. This web application opens the forms we have designed for this process. This form was created using the Intalio Ajax module available in the designer. Intalio Ajax is a powerful development tool that permits you to create interactive forms. For instance, you can create this combo list that are fed dynamically from a database, making it possible to navigate through categories every time an element is selected. You can add also some JavaScript code to permit client-side data manipulation. This form is created from the designer using this what you see is what you get environment, where you can graphically design your form without coding. You define all fields and form elements simply drag and drop from the available widgets. Coming back to the application, I can start the process clicking on this Start button. Okay, the process was initiated. As mentioned, Intalio can be integrated with Liferay. Here on my laptop, I have a running instance of the open source version of Liferay, which it counts with a portlet that permits to interact with Intalio through Intalio Web Service APIs. Intalio APIs permits to create a tool like the task list but completely embedded in this CMS. So let's log in as admin and then open the Intalio page. Here we have the portlet with the 3 tabs as we have in the Intalio Task List Manager. We are logged as admin, hence I have all rights to get access to the all tasks. So we are going to accept this order and to upload the document in Alfresco as required by, in this case, from Liferay. Let's do it. Let's open the task and we find the data that we have already input when we started the process. First, let's upload the document. To do this, we have to open this attachment form. Intalio provides this functionality by default. It means that you are always able to attach a number of documents to a task. So I select a document from my file system, I give a name to the file, and then I click on the plus button. I have installed in this laptop an open source instance of Alfresco as well. So the document I have already uploaded was put in a common repository in Alfresco thanks to the Intalio connector. Let's check that our document was successfully uploaded in Alfresco. Let's open the browser and then let's log in as admin in Alfresco. I remember that this is the open source version. So I navigate to the Intalio folder that I created before, and then I find the document I have recently uploaded. Okay, it was checked. So let's come back to the form in Liferay. Here we are. Now I have to accept this order, and then I click on the complete button to go ahead in this human workflow. As you remember, my process will invoke the integration layer process that will invoke the system integration layer process in order to create a folder and then move this document to this folder. Let's check it out in Alfresco. So I refresh the page and I can see a new folder. The name of the folder was created using the Intalio instance number ID. Then I go into this folder and I find the document I have previously uploaded. Summarizing, we have controlled the uploaded document lifecycle in Alfresco from Intalio using Liferay as front-end. Everything seamlessly integrated. That's all. I hope you have enjoyed this webinar, and in case you need further information, here are our suggestions for the next steps. In our website bpms.intalio.com, you can try our open source version. You can view our screencast and follow our basic tutorials. There's a lot of examples in our sample directory, and for sure you can share questions and experience with our community. Don't hesitate to contact our sales team for professional services. We provide consultancy and training. Our training courses provide you complete evaluation of Intalio in just 2 days. Learn in 2 days what takes typically 2 months otherwise. Start your project and your proof of concept pilots on the right foot. Our training courses are for small group of people, maximum 10 persons. For this kind of services, please mail to sales@intalio.com. Thank you very much. Cheers!